So here's what I think. The single greatest challenge is we don't know who we are politically, do we? I mean, we can't define if we're capitalists, if we're nationalists, or if we're socialists. For the last 38 years, we have achieved so little as a country. I mean, we've reached some astounding heights as productive individuals. But when you really think about it, we've done so little as a country. Political and religious leaders specialize in dividing instead of uniting us now. There is more organizational conflict internally than there is with those who oppose our beliefs. No one is fighting ZANU-PF more than ZANU-PF. No one is fighting MDC more than MDC. No one is fighting the Christian church more than Christian leaders. The Zimbabwean identity crisis begins at leadership level. ZANU-PF post-independence had its identity championed by Robert Mugabe. MDC had the same with Morgan Tsvangirai. But if you ask MDC or ZANU-PF supporters right now what they stand for, they couldn't tell you. I didn't even like Morgan, but I knew he was a Democrat. He's the guy whose whole story was about we need to change the political system and allow a new kind of democracy. Mugabe was a nationalist. He was all about black rule, black hard power. Whether it was education, he moved to land, he moved to indigenization. It doesn't matter if you agreed with him or not, but at any given point, we all knew what Robert Mugabe was all about. I Shandisa how much it is his only tool, and that's where I didn't agree with him. Our political parties right now are going through a period where they have to reimagine their identity or they will go into extinction. Nobody feels represented right now by any political leader in this country. I mean, answer the question honestly. Do you really feel represented? We cheer them on, but do they represent us? Outside of the fact that we're both from Chivi South and we're both Karangas, I don't know if I relate to the president. We're at war against poverty, and what we need is a commander-in-chief to get us out. Everybody's fighting for himself. Now, the price of living is gone high, but that's not the problem. The problem is you've tied our hands and you've tied our legs, so we can't even fight to survive. On one hand, you've got universities that are producing graduates that can't be used by anybody for anything. Our young girls have been reduced to extreme sports athletes with their bodies busy in sexual exercise to get out of hell. A lot of our young boys no longer think about an honest living because everybody around them who is making it because they broke the rules. We can't even get our boys to stay sober long enough to execute any plan, and that's why we're losing them. Now, on the other hand, I think we also have the most creative big ideas for the future coming out of our young girls, but with no real access to finance, so they simply get exhausted from aspiring.
Hey, if you're in the diaspora, you can now send your family a fresh box, 2 big chickens, and 10 kgs of potatoes for just $30 US. Go to diaspora.freshinnerbox.co.zw.
Supermarkets are charging a lot, so buy all the fresh bread for Fresh in a Box.
So, while we have no identity, what we do have is an impeccable ability to survive, resilience, intelligence unmatched by any country on the African continent. We have schemers par excellence who can create models to fit any changing environment. We have citizenry deployed across the world, working in some of the world's largest institutions. We have big thinkers who have solutions for each problem this country has. Mr. President, this country has manpower that every other country would die for. It just needs a commander. In case no one has told you, Mr. President, you're talking to everybody, but you're not talking to the people. You don't need a spokesperson, not right now. I know you have a plan. In fact, I think it's a good plan. But I need you to get off your high political horse and command every Zimbabwean on what to do next. Organize us. You've done this before in the liberation struggle. Create clusters of production so we can become brutal in how we mine, in how we farm, in how we serve. The only way that you increase productivity is when you make me more productive. The only reason we spend our days on social media wasting time is because we're not productive. The only reason we are fighting is because we're not productive. That's the true identity of Zimbabweans. We are the most productive human beings on earth. Your government is not productive. It's a stadium for the looting Olympics, chasing looters one after the other. In more cases than not, it's hurting the ordinary Zimbabwean than it's actually helping them. You know, Robert Mugabe's leadership wasn't perfect. In fact, I think Robert Mugabe created a big mess. But Robert Mugabe left you the most productive human beings on the planet. Every employer around the world loves a Zimbabwean employee. I think you should command Winston Chitando to organize every young person who wants to get involved in mining to get their hands dirty. I mean, we can then produce more gold, produce more diamonds, produce more gas, produce more chrome. Command Kirsty Coventry to organize all young people according to skill sets and capability or capacity. Deploy them in all directions of the country so that they work as their condition of compulsory national youth service. Command Parents Shivi to square out each inch of the country and account for its productivity. Your Minister of Labor, she should be able to account for every human being in this country and their level of productivity. Command, Mr. President, command. There is nothing wrong with this country that we cannot fix. Everybody wants to play a part. You asked for the job, you got it. Command Agriculture is exemplary. Command Housing is curious. But your legacy, Mr. President, your legacy will be defined by your ability to command your people to productivity. That is the true identity of Zimbabweans. Productivity. It's what we're looking for when we go to church. It's what we're really looking for when we attend a rally. You have your job. Your Excellency, make Zimbabweans productive. It's the only reasonable pathway to prosperity. It's the only reasonable chance we have to get out of this mess. My name is Lumumba, and I'm the people's champion. Until next time, head back.